Today, we're discussing further a topic that's fundamental for both your health and your future, your finance, and your place in the world. Part 11, more about plastic and plastic particles. We are Unity of Consciousness, where we help you to achieve personal and spiritual growth. Topic for today will be divided into Topic 4. 1. Everyday consumption item groups infused mostly with plastic materials. 2. Statistics of the quantities of plastic produced and statistic consumers use yearly, and the quantities of plastic disposed in landfills, yearly. 3. Statistics of the quantities of textiles with plastics produced for the fashion industry, and the quantities of textiles with plastics disposed in landfills yearly. 4. Measurable amounts of plastic particles humans, land and sea animals consume daily and yearly. We have to mention that last 2 episodes explored type of plastics, plastics numbers, group products that contain microplastics, what items have the most microplastics, pure plastic products, and what is the most toxic plastic used. Last episode, the discussion was about Introduction to Plastics and Plastic Particles, their discovery, their introduction into consumption, main industries that use plastics, how plastic materials are prepared. Our future discussions will further discuss the impact on plastic and plastic materials over life. This is a continuous part of the previous series that uses knowledge to inform you about the propagation of health, financials, and general welfare of our species. Why are we interested in your well-being in general and continue to treat serious issues that affect you in general? These issues affect your health, your well-being, and your growth as human. There is positive correlation of great health and well-being into greater physical and mental performance. There are many articles, including one from Corporate Health. If one suffers from ill health, the performance will be reduced. It will lead into you focusing all your energy to improve physical health. So, if you are unwell, you will possess less time to focus into more achievements in life, including personal and spiritual growth. We are living in exceptional times nowadays. There is a large mass of population that have been sleep-induced and have given away their power and their freedom of action. We should admit that this has happened in mutual agreement. We are intelligent beings, and as such we have knowingly and willingly given away our freedoms. Yes, we were deceived, however. We are intelligent beings, and we have to use our brain to identify what is our well-being and who is assisting us to achieve better health and wealth. It is obvious that the difference between the wealthiest and the poorest has never been bigger. It is also very obvious that the middle class is reducing and thinning every day to the point of no return. The person that earned $100,000 4 years ago is roughly or more than 40% poorer due to price increase of all products and services for this consumer, interest rate increase, and illegal tax hikes. Now, many of us are now recognizing the gravity of the situation we jointly have created and are beginning to take action to address the serious trouble we're in. So it is time for you, me, and all of us to act now. If you act 1 minute later, it just might be too late. Back to improving health and well-being. We often hear that organic or natural products, natural materials are expensive. However, the reality is that it can actually save you money in the long run while enhancing your overall well-being. We have discussed general tips how to save money in the first part. We have discussed the benefits of eating organic, non-GMO, pesticide, and chemical-free foods. In other videos, up to video 8, we have discussed chemicals into our cooking appliances and cosmetic product and their impact into our health and well-being. Let us start part 11 with continued research in plastics. Let us remind you some of our previous topics. Everyday consumption item groups infused with plastic materials. In the modern world, plastic has become a dominant material in the production of everyday items. Its versatility, durability, and low cost make it a prime material for manufacturing. However, the pervasive use of plastic has far-reaching implications for human health, environmental degradation, and economic impact. The staggering quantities of plastic produced and disposed of yearly have raised concerns. The fashion industry has increasingly relied on synthetic textiles made from plastic materials. These include fibers like polyester, nylon, acrylic, and spandex, all of which are derived from petrochemical processes. As a result, a significant portion of global textile production now involves plastics, creating widespread environmental concerns about the disposal of these materials. The pervasive presence of plastic particles in our environment is evident in oceans, rivers, and even the air we breathe. While much of the focus has been on macroplastics, large visible debris, there is growing concern about microplastics, tiny plastic particles that have infiltrated ecosystems worldwide. These particles have now made their way into the food chain, impacting both human health and animal populations. The main classification of class products that use plastic are 1. Personal care products. One of the most significant areas where plastics are present is in personal care products. Items such as shampoos, conditioners, body washes, lotions, and even toothpaste are packaged in plastic bottles and tubes. Beyond the packaging, many of these products contain microplastics, tiny plastic particles that serve as exfoliants in face scrubs or fillers in cosmetics like foundation, mascara, and lipsticks. These microplastics not only contribute to environmental pollution, but can also be absorbed by the skin, posing health risks. For example, polyethylene is commonly found in exfoliating products, and while it helps achieve smooth skin, it also enters the water system, where it can harm marine life. 2. Food packaging and containers. Plastic is omnipresent in the food industry, from grocery bags and food packaging to disposable cutlery and containers. Plastic wraps, bottles, and containers made from polyethylene, peat, and high-density polyethylene, HDPE, help preserve food and extend shelf life. While they are practical, they are also a major source of pollution, especially single-use plastics like straws, bags, and coffee cup lids. Many of these plastics leach harmful chemicals such as bisphenol A, BPA, into food, particularly when heated, contributing to various health issues like hormonal imbalances and an increased risk of cancer. 3. Textiles and clothing. Another significant contributor to plastic pollution is the fashion industry, particularly in the production of synthetic fibers such as polyester, nylon, and acrylic. These materials, made from plastic, are found in a wide range of clothing items, from workout gear to everyday apparel. The washing of these textiles releases microfibers into the environment, which then enter the water supply. Microfibers are a subset of microplastics that are particularly concerning because they are ingested by aquatic organisms, entering the food chain and potentially impacting human health. 4. Household items. Many everyday household items contain plastic components or are made entirely of plastic. These include kitchen utensils, storage containers, cleaning products, and even furniture. Items like sponges, brushes, and cleaning bottles are made from synthetic materials, contributing to the plastic footprint of a household. Plastic is also found in less obvious places like carpeting and mattresses, where synthetic fibers are used. 5. Electronics and gadgets. The technology industry relies heavily on plastic for the production of phones, computers, televisions, and household gadgets. Plastics are used in the casings, wiring insulation, and components of most electronic devices. While plastics help to make these devices lightweight and durable, they pose significant disposal issues. E-waste, or electronic waste, is a growing concern because discarded electronics release toxic chemicals and plastics into landfills, where they degrade slowly and pollute the environment. 6. Children's toys. Plastic is the most commonly used material in the production of children's toys. While these toys are generally inexpensive and durable, they are often made from harmful chemicals such as phthalates, which are used to soften the plastic. These chemicals have been linked to endocrine disruption and developmental problems in children. As toys are discarded, they contribute to the growing problem of plastic waste in landfills. 7. Medical supplies. The healthcare industry uses a significant amount of plastic in items like syringes, gloves, IV bags, and tubing. Plastic's sterility, flexibility, and disposability make it a convenient material for single-use medical supplies. However, this also contributes to large amounts of medical waste. The environmental impact of these plastics is concerning, as much of this waste is not recycled due to contamination concerns. 8. Automobiles and transportation. The automotive industry is another major user of plastics, with various components such as dashboards, bumpers, and seat covers being made from plastic materials like polyvinyl chloride, PVC, and polyurethane. Plastics help to make cars lighter and more fuel efficient, but they also contribute to waste, particularly when cars are scrapped. The microplastics from tire wear are another major source of pollution, as they are released into the environment during normal driving conditions. 8. Automobiles and transportation. The automotive industry is another major user of plastics, with various components such as dashboards, bumpers, and seat covers being made from plastic materials like polyvinyl chloride, PVC, and polyurethane. Plastics help to make cars lighter and more fuel efficient, but they also contribute to waste, particularly when cars are scrapped. The microplastics from tire wear are another major source of pollution, as they are released into the environment during normal driving conditions. 9. Bottled water and beverages. The global bottled water industry is a major consumer of plastic, with billions of plastic bottles used and discarded annually. These bottles are typically made from PET plastic, which is lightweight and shatterproof. However, the majority of these bottles are not recycled and end up in landfills or the ocean, where they contribute to the plastic pollution crisis. The production of these bottles also has a significant carbon footprint. Environmental and health concerns. The pervasive use of plastic materials in everyday items has led to significant environmental and health concerns. Plastics take hundreds to thousands of years to decompose, leading to long-term pollution in landfills and oceans. Wildlife, particularly marine life, is severely impacted as animals ingest or become entangled in plastic waste. Microplastics, which are less than 5 mm in size, are now found in drinking water, food, and even the air we breathe, raising concerns about their impact on human health. Research suggests that the ingestion of microplastics can lead to inflammation, hormone disruption, and other health issues. Furthermore, many plastics contain additives like BPA, phthalates, and flame retardants, which have been linked to cancer, reproductive problems, and developmental issues in children. Understanding the scale of plastic production and waste disposal. Global statistics. Plastic production, global quantities. The global production of plastic has seen exponential growth since its inception in the early 20th century. In 1950, around 2 million metric tons of plastic were produced. Fast forward to 2020, and the world was producing over 367 million metric tons annually. This upward trend in production reflects the growing reliance on plastic in various industries such as packaging, textiles, electronics, and construction. Annual production growth. From 2000 to 2020, global plastic production grew by nearly 80%, and projections indicate that by 2050, this number could triple if current trends continue. Plastic packaging alone accounts for over 40% of the global production volume due to its ubiquitous presence in everyday products. Top producers. China is the leading producer of plastics, accounting for approximately 32% of global production, followed by other industrial giants such as the United States, Germany, and Japan. Consumer use of plastics. Key statistics. Consumers worldwide rely heavily on plastic materials in daily life. From single-use plastics like water bottles and grocery bags to durable plastics in household appliances, vehicles, and electronics, plastic is pervasive. In 2019, it was estimated that the global per capita plastic use was around 50 kilograms per person per year. Household consumption. Packaging materials, such as bottles, bags, and containers, make up the largest proportion of household plastic consumption. In Europe alone, packaging plastics account for 39.6% of total plastic use. Single-use plastics. It is estimated that more than 300 million tons of plastic are produced for single-use items annually, contributing significantly to the amount of plastic waste generated globally. The consumption of single-use plastic packaging continues to rise, driven by the food and beverage industries. Plastics disposed in landfills, yearly quantities. Plastic waste is a growing concern, with millions of tons ending up in landfills yearly. According to estimates, approximately 79% of all plastic produced since the 1950s has accumulated in landfills or the natural environment. The following statistics highlight the disposal of plastic waste in landfills. Landfill accumulation. Each year, roughly 40% of plastic produced globally ends up in landfills. In 2021, this amounted to over 150 million metric tons of plastic waste being disposed of in landfills globally. Regional data. In the United States alone, over 30 million metric tons of plastic waste is disposed of in landfills annually. Of this amount, plastic packaging waste makes up a significant portion. For example, in the European Union, landfills are responsible for housing over 7 million metric tons of plastic waste each year. Plastic degradation. Plastics do not decompose in the traditional sense. Instead, they break down into smaller particles known as microplastics, which persist in the environment for hundreds of years. This contributes to the continuous buildup of plastic in landfills, causing long-term environmental concerns. The role of plastic in textiles for the fashion industry and its disposal. Textiles with plastics in fashion, production statistics. Synthetic fibers have become dominant in the fashion industry due to their versatility, durability, and cost-effectiveness. In 2021, polyester, the most commonly used plastic-based fiber, accounted for about 52% of all fiber production globally. According to the Textile Exchange, synthetic fibers now comprise nearly 65% of the total global textile production. Polyester alone is used in everything from sportswear and outdoor gear to fast fashion and luxury clothing. The annual production of synthetic fibers exceeds 60 million tons, and this figure continues to grow as demand for affordable, durable, and functional clothing rises. Textiles with plastic content are highly valued for their ability to be blended with natural fibers like cotton and wool, offering added strength, wrinkle resistance, and moisture-wicking properties. Another major plastic-infused textile is nylon, commonly used in activewear, hosiery, and swimwear. Although less prevalent than polyester, it accounts for approximately 5% of total textile production. Additionally, acrylic fibers used in knitwear and upholstery contribute another 2 to 3% to global textile production. Collectively, these plastic-based materials make up a substantial portion of the textile market. Textile waste with plastics in landfills. Disposal statistics. The global production of plastic-based textiles has a direct impact on the amount of textile waste that ends up in landfills each year. In 2020, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation reported that the fashion industry generates approximately 92 million tons of textile waste annually. Of this waste, a large percentage consists of synthetic fibers that do not biodegrade, leading to persistent environmental challenges. According to the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, approximately 85% of textiles produced each year are discarded and end up in landfills or are incinerated. In particular, Synthetic textiles such as polyester and nylon contribute significantly to this waste, as they are not easily recyclable and take centuries to degrade. In the United States alone, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, estimates that around 17 million tons of textile waste were generated in 2018, with approximately 11.3 million tons of this waste being sent to landfills. Of that landfill waste, a significant proportion consists of synthetic fabrics. The situation is similarly dire in Europe, where the European Environment Agency reports that textile waste has been growing at an alarming rate, with nearly 4 million tons of textile waste generated in the EU each year. The fashion industry is known for its high turnover rate of seasonal trends, with fast fashion companies producing and disposing of large quantities of clothing at an unsustainable pace. As a result, many garments, especially those made from synthetic fibers, are disposed of after being worn just a few times, adding to the already overwhelming waste stream. Statistics of the quantities and measurable amounts of plastic particles humans, land, and sea animals consume daily and yearly. Microplastics and their ubiquity in the food chain. Microplastics are defined as plastic particles smaller than 5 millimeters in diameter. They are either intentionally manufactured, for example, in cosmetics or textiles, or formed from the breakdown of larger plastic waste. These particles are small enough to be ingested by wildlife, both on land and in the sea, and have been detected in everything from drinking water to seafood. Human consumption of microplastics. According to a 2019 report by WWF, World Wildlife Fund, the average person could be ingesting approximately 5 grams of plastic per week, equivalent to the weight of a credit card. This estimate is based on studies that show plastic contamination in food, water, and air. Over the course of a year, this translates to roughly 250 grams of plastic. Here are some measurable sources of plastic ingestion. 1. Water. Bottled water and tap water have been found to contain microplastic particles. Bottled water has been shown to have higher levels of contamination compared to tap water, with estimates suggesting people consume about 1,769 particles of plastic from bottled water per week. 2. Seafood. Consuming seafood, particularly shellfish like mussels and oysters, has been identified as a significant source of plastic ingestion. Studies estimate that seafood eaters might consume as much as 11,000 microplastic particles per year. 3. Air. Microplastics are present in the air, especially in urban environments. Indoor air may have higher concentrations due to fibers shed from synthetic clothing and textiles. Humans may be inhaling thousands of plastic particles annually. Animal consumption of microplastics. Land animals. The ingestion of plastic particles by land animals, including livestock and wildlife, is a growing concern. These animals are exposed to microplastics through contaminated feed, water, and even soil. For instance, cows and chickens may consume microplastics present in feed, and the particles may accumulate in their systems, though the long-term health impacts are not yet fully understood. Some estimates suggest that terrestrial animals can ingest tens of thousands of plastic particles annually through their food sources. Sea animals. Marine life, from plankton to large marine mammals, is especially vulnerable to microplastic contamination. Research has shown that over 700 marine species have ingested plastic debris, either directly or through prey. Key findings include fish. Studies indicate that fish in the North Pacific ingest between 12,000 and 24,000 tons of plastic annually. A study published in Frontiers in Marine Science found that nearly 73% of fish in the North Pacific had ingested microplastics. Plankton. As the foundation of the marine food chain, plankton plays a crucial role in nutrient cycling. However, they have been shown to consume microplastics, which then move up the food chain as they are consumed by larger marine species. sea turtles, and marine mammals. Larger animals like turtles and whales often ingest plastic particles inadvertently while feeding. Some marine mammals, such as whales, have been found with significant quantities of plastic in their stomachs, contributing to malnutrition and death. A study from the Journal of Marine Biology found that one baleen whale had ingested up to 40 kilograms of plastic debris. Yearly consumption data. Humans. Based on existing research, humans may consume anywhere between 39,000 to 52,000 microplastic particles per year through food alone. This number increases when considering inhalation of microplastics from the air. Some studies suggest this number could be even higher for individuals who rely heavily on processed food and bottled water, as these are significant sources of plastic contamination. Animals. Estimates for plastic consumption by animals are difficult to pinpoint due to variations in exposure across species and environments. However, studies on marine life suggest that billions of marine animals are affected annually. Research from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, indicates that up to 100,000 marine mammals and 1 million seabirds die annually due to plastic ingestion or entanglement. Plastic in ecosystems. In marine ecosystems, 14 million tons of plastic enter the oceans annually, a portion of which breaks down into microplastics. These particles are consumed by marine life and spread through the food chain, eventually making their way to humans. Land animals and terrestrial ecosystems are similarly affected, though data is harder to quantify due to variations in environment and species. Measuring the impact of plastic ingestion. While the exact health implications of microplastic ingestion remain uncertain, early studies suggest that the ingestion of these particles may have long-term health effects on humans and animals. In humans, microplastics have been found in human stool, signaling their presence throughout the digestive system. Research is ongoing to understand whether the accumulation of these particles may contribute to inflammation, toxicity, or other health conditions. Conclusion. The statistics surrounding plastic production and waste disposal highlight the immense scale of global plastic dependency. With annual production in the hundreds of millions of metric tons and a large percentage ending up in landfills, plastic waste management remains a critical challenge. This article has outlined key data on plastic consumption and disposal. Addressing the challenges posed by plastic consumption requires a collective effort to reduce reliance on single-use plastics, improve recycling infrastructure, and develop alternative materials that protect the environment. The pervasive presence of microplastics in our environment, food, and water has led to widespread ingestion by both humans and animals. While the full impact on health is not yet known as it has not been properly investigated, although there has been an ample amount of time to investigate, the sheer volume of plastic particles consumed annually is alarming. In humans, the average person ingests tens of thousands of particles per year, while marine and land animals are similarly exposed to large quantities of plastic through their habitats and food sources. Today in Health Episode 11, we addressed 1 everyday consumption item groups infused mostly with plastic materials. 2. Statistics of the quantities of plastic produced and statistic consumers use yearly, and the quantities of plastic disposed in landfills yearly. 3. Statistics of the quantities of textiles with plastics produced and the quantities of textiles with plastics disposed in landfills yearly. 4. Measurable amounts of plastic particles. Humans, land, and sea animals consume daily and yearly. Previous episodes have commenced to discuss initial production of plastic, their infiltration and consumption, their classifications. We have discussed prior the benefits of eating organic, non-GMO, pesticide, and chemical-free foods. In other videos, up to video 8, we have discussed chemicals into our cooking appliances and cosmetic product and their impact into our health and well-being. The next episodes will go deeper to discuss the use and effect of plastics and how all affect your lives, your general well-being, and your financial well-being. You will find links for the Today research and topic. If you found these tips helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more educational and inspirational content to help you achieve personal and spiritual growth. Achieving a better life, healthier and financially healthy, will allow you to achieve faster and more effective personal and spiritual growth. Thank you for investing your time with us. Take care, stay healthy, wealthy, and enlightened.